I want to bring in Democratic Congressman from the state of Massachusetts, Seth Moulton. Seth, congratulations first. You supported a number of vets in the midterms, and a whole lot of them won. You are one of the Democrats against Nancy Pelosi becoming House Speaker. Why is that?
The American people sent a very clear message in the election last week that they want new approaches to politics and new leaders in Washington. I mean, look at the historic number of women, especially women veterans, who were elected, historic number of LGBT candidates, the incredible diversity of this new incoming class. If we answer that call for new leadership by reinstalling the same status quo establishment leadership that we've had in this party since 2006, then we're letting down the American people. And the overwhelming majority of Democrats are clear on this. The overwhelming majority of Democrats want new leadership in the House of Representatives.
Okay,
it's our job to answer that call.
But what if Nancy Pelosi, who has a proven track record of really getting things done and being a leader in helping so many new Democrats get elected last week, what if leadership change, not necessarily Nancy Pelosi, but other members sort of on that top ticket, her deputies, whips, DCCC. While new ideas are welcome and needed, strategy matters. And when you look over at Republicans, Mitch McConnell isn't a new voice, a different voice, but it's unbelievable what that guy can get done because of experience.
Look, I think Mitch McConnell should go too. But Nancy Pelosi, with all due respect, she's accomplished a lot in the past in her 30-year legislative career. But she's won 3 elections in the last 12 years. It's not a winning strategy. Since 2008, when she took the Speaker's gavel, we have 30 fewer seats than we did when she took over. So this actually really hasn't gone well. And when you look at some of the amazingly talented leaders that we have in our caucus, including some incredible women, like Marcia Fudge, who I hope will run. She's my mentor. I think you'll see what a new generation of leadership will mean for this caucus and for the Democratic Party and ultimately for the American people. I mean, Marcia Fudge, she hails from the Midwest. She's in touch with the American people. She understands the struggle that ordinary Americans are having every single day. She has incredible experience in the House and beyond. She's a true leader, and she's respected deeply across this caucus. When you look at her, you say, that's the future. That's the future of our party. That's the future of our country. And that's what we need in our Democratic leader.
But quickly, you said you would want Mitch McConnell to go too. You would want Mitch McConnell to go because you have different political views. If you were a Republican, wouldn't you look and say, he may have been here for a zillion years, but it's unbelievable how much stuff he gets done?
But we don't have that case on our side because, in fact, we haven't gotten a lot of stuff done. One of the issues that's really important to me is gun reform. And one of the secrets of the Democratic Party is that when Leader Pelosi was in charge, she didn't bring gun reform bills to the floor. So there's a lot that hasn't been done that I think a new generation of leaders will get done for this country. And when you look at the deep talent that we have in our caucus, you see there's no reason why we shouldn't be able to send some new people up to the top. And look, one of the ways that we have won elections in the past few years, especially in the last 2 elections, is with African American women. And yet there's not a single African American woman in the party's leadership. I think that should change. That's one of the reasons why I'm backing Marcia Fudge, who's an enormously talented woman who is going to do a better job than Speaker Pelosi, and that's why I support her for being the next speaker. When
you mention gun reform, I think about something else where we haven't seen much progress. But this week, President Trump endorsed major prison sentencing reform legislation. Is that something that we could see Democrats get behind? Is this an opening for bipartisanship?
Absolutely. We need to reform our criminal justice system. The system is inherently racist in its results. I mean, we have extraordinary, out-of-control numbers of African-American men who are incarcerated, and we've got to change that. We owe that to the American people, and it should be a bipartisan priority. So, look, if the president is willing to work on this, we'll work with him on it. But it's going to be on our terms, not just on his.
Then what would you like to see as the first item on the Democrats' agenda come January? Because you're in a tough spot. There's a portion of your party that is all resistance all the time. But as you said, the American people voted because they want a better life.
You know, the American people voted, but if you want to be true about this, there are a lot of Americans who didn't get to vote because they were disenfranchised. Because in Georgia, you had a Secretary of State who himself was running for governor who pushed a lot of people off the voting rolls, especially African Americans. Down in Florida, the Republican Party is trying to stop service members from having their votes be counted. So my first bill would be the Voting Rights Act, to make sure that every American has the fundamental right to vote. There's nothing more essential to our democracy, and we failed to deliver on that promise last week.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me, or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.